Hello and welcome to another Carleton StarCraft 2 playoff match. This is game number 4 between Carleton and the University of Ryerson. Spawning in the top, or in the bottom right as the Green Terran, we have roflcopter representing the University of Ryerson, and representing the University of Carleton in the top left, it is Quad as the pink Protoss player. Now this is a crucial game. It's game 4 in the series. This is a best of 5, and if Carleton loses this match, their entire season is done. This is elimination. This is a single elimination playoff tournament, and it's pretty important for Carleton that Quad win this match. Unfortunately, out of the games we've seen the last few players play have been some of Carleton's most consistent Masters players that have played most of our matches. We've had Incarnate win his 2 versus 2 match with Sustainable. We had Stylen, who actually is one of the most consistent players on our team. He's only dropped 2 matches all season, lose to Regret in a nail-bitingly close TVZ, and then we had IQQ lose to Laser in a ZVT that also IQQ, actually I think he's even more consistent than Stylen. I think he only dropped 1 game in regular season play, and that's part of why Carleton came into this match so heavily favored against Ryerson, but Ryerson's Masters players have really stood up and played amazing games, and we see that we'll see if roflcopter can do the same. Unfortunately, Quad, though he is an incredibly talented player, and is a self-proclaimed PVZ sniper, his worst matchup is Terran, and that is exactly who he's playing. And throughout the season, he has actually struggled dropping games against Terrans, especially on maps like Shakuris, where a Terran player could all-in him. So we'll see how this game goes, if Quad is able to stand up and keep Carleton's season alive, or if he folds to pressure from roflcopter or not. We see Rofl did take that gas, so we'll see how this goes. There's a second barracks being hidden up here. That probe is maybe going to get in. Does he see the barracks? I don't think so.
Upgrade.
No, he doesn't see that second barracks. Gets the gas steal off. Nice one by Quad. That will limit some of the options, but off 2 racks, there's not a whole lot of stuff that a Terran player is going to want to do with that second gas, especially if he's grabbing a reactor now. So we're probably going to see either a lot of marine pressure or a factory come out really soon, and that's actually, I'm going to guess factory, because we're seeing about 100 gas come down. The SCV does make it up into Quad's main. That Stalker's getting chrono boosted out, but he's not going to be able to deal with this SCV until that happens. So until that point, we see roflcopter getting a very nice scout of Quad's main. He sees lots of probes, not a lot of energy on the Nexus, warp gate research coming in, and he's mining his gas. So we actually have a tech lab going down on this barracks, and not a whole, well, I guess 2 Marines in production out of the reactor. So an interesting opening by Rofl. Quad actually a lot ahead in the worker, or in the supply count, and we see that's mostly in probes. It's 1 Stalker and 24 probes for Quad, 3 Marines, and 19 SCVs for Rofl, and Quad is going to have the Stalker pop out at a pretty bad time, as there's just more Marines coming in. That's 5 Marines out now. This Stalker should get deflected relatively easily, especially with the high ground. He's not really going to be able to do much damage, but Quad does have pretty good micro against Marines. He should be able to keep that Stalker alive, but he just backs it off and takes his expansion, making another Stalker and getting it out there. And it's actually making a 3rd Stalker and a 2nd gateway coming up here. Actually, 2 more gateways on the way. Warp gate still inching its way along. It's such a slow research now, but I'm not complaining about that, because I remember going against 4 gates with a faster research. I'm not paying attention to his Stalkers. He might just lose them here. Rofl snuck up, gets 1 Stalker for free. Quad's got to try to micro down, takes that 1 Marine out, and that's not a good trade, but it's a better trade than just losing a Stalker for nothing. So not ideal for Quad, but we actually have the factory coming up by Rofl, but at least he got that 1 Marine. I'll finish my sentences here, or I'll do the best I can. Rofl's staying on 1 base right now, even though he's actually taking both gases. He's getting a tech lab on his factory, so we'll see what kind of tech he decides to go out with, and he's throwing down a starport, so we're actually going to see a 2-on-1 from Rofl. This could be the kind of all-in that Quad fears, And we'll see how this goes. We'll see if he's able to defend against it. Robo coming up for him, so he could. It'll come down to the positioning and the micro, but with the sentries out, he should have enough to force field off this ramp. But we'll see what kind of tech path Raffle decides to go. He's making siege tanks for now. We'll see if he decides to switch and get banshees out, and if he does, if he decides to go for the cloak research. I kind of doubt he's going to go medevac or Viking. I'll be gobsmacked if he makes a Viking, but you never know. And yeah, he's going to go for the medevac, not switch it for banshees right away. And that makes a lot of sense because look at how many Marines he has. He has stim packs already done, and Quad is, he's moving around, checking the map for these Zelnaga towers, but he has no idea. If we jump into his vision, he has no idea whether or not Terran has taken his natural, and he does, I believe, have an observer that's rallied over, so he's going to find out, but it might be too little too late if he gets attacked and he doesn't have time to deal with it. So we see more siege tanks, so it's actually just a tank marine push, it looks like, from Raffle. I'd say not necessarily some kind of crazy all-in, but we're getting up to that like 8:30 minute mark, and he's still on one base. So this is going to be, I don't want to necessarily call Raffle an all-in, though realistically at this point, if he doesn't deal some big damage to Quad, this game is going to be over. That said, if you look at the unit station, Quad only has 2 Zealots, 1 Immortal, 2 Sentries, and 2 Stalkers. So there's definitely the potential that this push could just kill Quad. I mean, 28 Marines, a medevac, and 2 siege tanks. Quad sees it, and he's got to be... well, he might want to clean his pants around now when he sees that many Marines pushing out. He does have 2 sentries with almost full force fields that could force field off, or almost full energy that could force field off the ramp, but with medevacs out, there's nothing stopping Raffle from just dropping the main, and Quad with only 2 stalkers and 2 sentries, which have to stay on this low ground, is not going to actually be able to... he's not going to be able to deny a medevac drop. He's not going to be able to pick it off fast enough to stop him from getting into his main. So this is a super tense scenario. This could be the end of Carleton's playoffs. 3 more gateways coming up, and he's chrono boosting those Immortals out. Nice force field. There's a hole in the force fields, though, and you see Raffle is able to get in. There's the stim. Sentry's getting targeted down. He has no more... Okay, he did work, but he does have that 1 sentry in the back. The Quad has to just retreat to the high ground. He's going to just sack his natural, and really, why not at this point? It's not like Raffle's taking a natural of his own. Actually, we see there's 1 Zealot, 2 Zealots coming into Quad, or for Quad, and that is cleaning out Raffle's stuff, because you see that nice warp in here, but this Nexus is going down. Siege tanks on the low ground. This is almost a bit of a base race, I want to say, but actually, no. There's 1 Zealot. There's 17 kills on the Zealot. It's killing everything in Raffle's base. Raffle actually has 12 SCVs. There's 47 probes out for Quad. If he can survive this attack, he might just be able to come back in the game, because that Zealot did so much damage. But that is so many Marines down here. He's just force fielding the ramp, trying to keep himself alive. That Marine somehow squeezes through the 2 force fields, but there is a Colossus out. It's actually not killing this Marine, so he's going to have vision of the high ground for the siege tanks to just go to work. Quad really needs to kill this Marine off, but he's not doing it. More Marines get dropped on the high ground, so he's kind of lost that window of opportunity. That pylon goes down. That unpowers his Robo. Support bay with the research almost done. That's so painful. I was going to say, it looks like Quad has good coverage with his pylons. This is not Artosis. This is Quad playing, so he's going to be able to continue making Colossi, but not when you're supply blocked, and not when... and they're not going to have range. Range would be done by now, and he'd be able to easily pick up these Marines and actually push these tanks back, but he can't do that without range on his Colossi, and this building positioning actually makes it really difficult. He has to choose come from this side or walk all the way around and come back from this side, and because he came around here, the Marines can just run up into his main unchecked. Nice warping on the Zealots. I feel like those Marines could have taken those Zealots, no problem, but he loses a Colossi. This is looking pretty deadly. Oh my goodness, did we miss another warp in back here? Because I don't see any SCVs from Raffle. What is this? We bring up the units tab. There are 5 SCVs left for Raffle, so Quad must have done another warp in of Zealots or something to just clean all that out. You can see Raffle microing so intently on this front, because if he breaks Quad here, it is all over. Quad still has so many SCVs. He has 1 Colossi left. You can just have 1 Colossi. He just warped in those 2 Zealots and Stalker, but that Colossi with this engagement and the Marine heavy composition of Raffle, that is actually enough to hold it off. It looks like Quad repowered and got his range up, which is very good, but there's tanks being dropped in the main. Roffle is going to siege up, and you have to remember, if this push works, Carleton is out of the playoffs. Quad microing his Colossi very well. He's going to lose the support phase, so that is going to be the last Colossi for Quad. No Robo Bay. There is one on the way, but he is losing his gateways too, chrono boosting them to try and get that last warp cycle off. Looks like he's going to get one off from this gateway. There it goes. Is he going to get the second one off? I don't know if this gateway is going to be done, and he's doing everything he can to get this production cycles done. That said, there is no production going on for Raffle. He has this small army back here that is actually still not dealing with his Warpins, but Quad needs to be able to kill this army, and I don't know if he has the units to do it. He is macroing a little bit. Are these stalkers trapped back here? That would be so painful if they were trapped, but actually Quad is starting to pull way ahead in the unit supply because he's still building and Raffle really isn't. Here he goes. He's going to try to break the tank line, running the Zealots and pulling all of his probes down. He's going to overwhelm the siege tanks. Look at these tanks on the low ground. They're going to be worth so much against these probes. So many probes go down, but the Stalker is able to clean it up. The Colossi is still there. 30 supply to 60 supply. It looks like Quad may have been able to come back just by backstabbing into Raffle's main so much, and Raffle is going to have to back out. Quad now in a commanding position with, we look at the units, sorry, still have the units tab open, 5 SCVs, 2 mules to 35 probes. Quad is going to be able to remacro, and there's the G from Raffle. Quad does it. He holds the pressure build by Raffle, and we're going to go to an ace match. This is going to Game 5 in the first round of the playoffs between Carleton and Ryerson.